Okay, here's a look at the questions we did today in class. Make sure you write down what I write down so you can get credit for doing it. Which of the following correctly describes the difference below? 0.5 repeating minus pi. Now remember, 0.5 repeating is a rational number, and pi is an irrational number. If I subtract 0.5 repeating from pi, I can put that into my calculator in mode 1. 0.555555 minus pi. And that's going to give me negative 2.586037 ... So that means it's going to be an irrational number. Anytime you're dealing with pi, you're going to get an irrational number. So the answer to the first one is A. Question 2 says, which of the following is a solution for x? And since this isn't a quadratic or anything that we've worked with before, what I elected to do was substitute in the values for x and see if it gave me the answer of 6, because I wanted to find out what number minus 7 divided by that same number equals 6. So if A was x equals 1, I substituted a 1. Everywhere there was an x, I put a 1 here and a 1 here. So 1 minus 7 divided by 1, the calculator told me that was negative 6, so that wasn't the answer. Then I tried to answer choice B. Negative 7, subtract 7 divided by negative 7. If I put that in the calculator, I also get negative 6. So that wasn't the answer because I want it to be positive 6. C, 7 subtract 7 divided by 7. If I put that in the calculator, I get positive 6. And that is my answer because the question says they want to know when it equals 6. Number 3. Which of the following interpretations for the given expression is correct? Now notice I've got parentheses around x plus 2, so that's read as the sum of x plus 2. So A says the sum of x cubed 2 and 2x. So that's telling me I'm going to add x cubed, 2, and 3x. So that's not the answer. B, the sum of x plus 2 cubed and 2x. So that tells me to add x plus 2 cubed and 2x. And that's what we're looking for. So B is the answer. Number 4. Determine which answer choice below is equivalent to the given expression by completing the square. And we didn't study completing the square, but we did do these in mode 7. So what I did was I determined the vertex, since all of my answer choices were in vertex form, and I wanted to see which answer choice was going to be found in the table. So I made a table using mode 7. I found that my vertex was going to be at 3, 1 because there's my symmetry. And I looked to see which vertex is at 3, 1. Remember, you have to change the sign. So that would make answer choice D be the correct answer because that tells me my vertex is the opposite of negative 3, 1. Number 5. Simplify the following expression to an answer with only positive exponents. Now this problem is asking me to multiply. So I'm going to multiply the coefficients. Negative 5 times 9 is negative 45. So that would automatically eliminate choice A. Remember, you add the exponents when you're multiplying. So I'm going to take the x exponents, and I want to add 5 plus negative 2. And that's going to give me a positive 3. So x to the third power. And then I want to do the same thing with the y exponents. So I'm going to add the 3 and the 5. 3 plus 5 is 8. So that would give me y to the 8th power. So that would give me my answer choice D. Number 6. The graph of f of x is shown below. If g of x equals 9 parentheses x minus 8 squared minus 6, which statement is true? A says the minimum value of g of x is greater than the minimum value of f of x. So if I look, this is definitely my minimum value. My minimum value for f of x is going to be 4 comma negative 8. And if I look at my g function here, that's going to, as a positive x squared, so it's going to go up. So it will have a minimum value also. And the vertex is going to be at positive 8, because you got to change the sign, comma negative 6. So both of these are minimum values. So I know my answer choice could be A, it could be B, it could not be C, because those are talking about maximum values. So which one is greater? This is the g of x function, and this is the f of x function. Well, I know that negative 6 is going to be larger than negative 8. So the minimum value of g of x is greater than the minimum value of f of x. That would be my true statement. Number 7. Simplify the square root of negative 48. If you try to do this in mode 1, it's going to give you a syntax error. And that's because you can't have a negative square root. You're going to have an imaginary number. Also, you know the answers C and D would be eliminated because they don't have an imaginary number. So if you put the square root of negative 48 in mode 2, it's going to tell you the answer is B, 4i times the square root of 3. Number 8. A publishing company determines the profit function P of X for a new bestseller, where X represents the sale price of the book. P of X equals 64 plus 16x plus or minus 0.4 x squared. Describe the interval of the function from 0 to 40. Well, I know that since this is a negative x squared, it's going to be a function that is reflected. So it's going to look like that. It might even help if you go to mode 7 and make a table. And since it's talking about the interval from 0 to 40, you might want to start at 0 and end at 40. The problem there is that it's not going to let you put all those points in there at once. You might want to say step 5, and that might help. When you do that, you know the profit's going to increase when the price is between 0 and 20. This function is increasing as you go up. And then it's going to decrease as you go down. And if you make your table, you can see in your tables that the values are going to get larger as you get to 20. And then the numbers are going to get smaller as you go to 40. So the answer here would be A. Number 9. Find the axis of symmetry of the following quadratic function by completing the square. What I did was I put it in mode 7. And I began at negative 10 because my smallest number on the chart was negative 8. Alright? And remember, your axis of symmetry is going to go right in the middle through the vertex. So if you look at the formula, you look at negative 8. Here's negative 8. And you do not see your symmetry. So it will not be negative 8. If you continue with your actually it should be negative 8 because that's your negative 2. So that would be your answer. I miswrote the table. And the last one, 10. Based on the information provided in the picture above, which of the following theorems can be used to show that triangle MNO is congruent to triangle PQR? If you read the marks, this right here is an angle mark. This mark here is a side mark. And this mark here is an angle mark. So angle, side, angle. So these are the questions we looked at today in class. Go over them tonight, make sure you understand them, and if there's any questions, please ask tomorrow, and we'll look at some more questions tomorrow.